Today I'm talking to Edmund. Edmund found the carnivore diet entirely by accident. And eating carnivore, Edmund has achieved some amazing results in a very short time. Just before we speak to Edmund, please do me a massive favor, smash like and also please subscribe. It really helps out the channel and it lets me be another voice out there talking about the carnivore diet. Let's meet Edmund. How did you find the carnivore diet and how long have you been on it?
So last year in 2023, 2022, I apologize. My wife and I got married in May. We've been together for about 11 years, and we had previously tried to get married, and then COVID happened. And of course, we just had to postpone it and move it to another time. And in that time, my dad passed away, my stepdad passed away, and just, kind of devastating things in my life. But the marriage was one of, a very uplifting moment. And but the one thing my wife and I decided that during the process, is about a year process for us to go through the church. We're both Catholics. And during that time, we decided that it was too much stress for us to go on diets to be our perfect weight for the wedding. So we were going to just live our lives, organize ourselves, get the wedding through, go to our honeymoon, and then come back and work on ourselves. Well, that plan's great. When we got back from our honeymoon in mid-June, found out that my cousin was having some issues, and he didn't know, he wasn't diagnosed with anything at that point. Just thought that he had some stomach problems. Well, it came to terms that he had esophageal cancer, and that cancer is very devastating. So anyone that gets that, I mean, pretty much it's a death sentence as far as going with the general treatment that they give you. It's just going to wear you down, chemotherapy and radiation. It just wears your body down really fast. And if your body's not prepared for something like that, you can wither away really fast, which is what happened to him. But during that time, I was scouring the internet and books and trying to find the perfect, nutritional plan for somebody that was suffering from a cancer diagnosis. Came across a bunch of different things, but the one that really stuck out to me was the carnivore diet, the proper human diet. I came across Sean Baker, Paul Saladino, Dr. Ken Berry. Those are the first people that I came across when it came to this. And because they had doctors in front of their names, I thought, well, shoot, I might learn something from these guys. And the more you watch them, the more you realize that they didn't have a lot of faith in what was going on with our nutritional activity in this country, for sure. The guidelines that were set were way out of date and just probably so commercialized and or politicized to make their point, that nobody was getting better, everyone was getting sicker. But you could, the more I watch these videos, there's a chat involved and there's real people in these chats, and you're seeing results from people that you don't know. And you're just, of course you have to take it with a grain of salt. You have to just trust that, they're telling the truth about what they're, is going on with their body and the changes that are being made. And then there was other people. I started seeing normal people like yourself or Harry from Homestead How, people that have made those adjustments to their life, and you just see them like transform into something totally different. I mean, there's a ton of different people that I could reference, but those are just people I've been watching lately that I enjoy. Yeah, I mean, I just started going down this road and I thought, well, you know what? I don't think he's going to listen to me if I just tell him that this is what you should do. I said, maybe I'll try it and see what happens for me. So I did a dirty style, carnivore from August of 2020 until February of 2023. Dirty meaning I never stopped drinking alcohol. That was, I was able to get rid of the sweets. I was able to get rid of the bread. I was able to get rid of the seed oils. I was ready. I mean, I could sit down and, eat 2 pounds of meat every day. Sometimes have eggs, sometimes have bacon. Dairy doesn't affect me, so I can have dairy in any form. I don't feel uncomfortable, or I don't feel like it holds me back at all. I know that sometimes I've heard people say, that, oh, get rid of the dairy, it's going to change everything. I tried going a couple of weeks without the dairy. I didn't feel like I had much of a change at all. But what really changed was about 6 weeks ago, I decided that, you know what, no more dirty. I'm going full on, no alcohol, and see what happens. Well, almost immediately, I mean, I cleared up, my trips to the restroom. I mean, like, I went less times a day. Sometimes not even in a day, not even going during the day, just waiting another day, which is not normal for me because I've had IBS and undiagnosed Crohn's for the last 10 years. It's something that goes in my family. My mom has it, and I feel like I was well on my way to being someone that is subject to having my colon removed or something like that. But I don't want to go down that road. I'm trying anything I can to make sure I don't. But what made me fall off the wagon in February was my cousin passed away from the esophageal cancer.
I'm
And I
sorry.
decided, you know what? I'm grieving. I'm gonna go to the funeral. I'm gonna eat whatever they have. I'm not gonna worry about my diet. Well, that stymied into, here comes Lent around the corner. Now I'm gonna have to eat fish every Friday. And I'm not a big fish eater. To be honest with you, the only kind of fish I can eat is fried. So it must be breaded, it must be fried, or else I'm probably not going to eat it. So knowing that that wasn't part of my carnivore journey, I decided that, well, during Lent, I'm just going to eat whatever I want. I'm going to go out and just have whatever foods that I have a craving for. Well, from August to February, I went from 215 pounds down to 170. And then from the end of February till April, I put all that weight back on in that short period of time, which I felt terrible. My body was aching. Before I felt like, I had knee pains and back pain and everything else, and all that had gone away. And I was just like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I've never felt like this. I mean, like, I feel like I should be like a little kid. I was going to start skipping at work or something. I just felt so good. And then I just went right back to feeling like I did, the previous 10 years, where I just felt terrible. I was getting poor sleep. My joint pain was coming back. Having a terrible time in the restroom. And then I just, when Lent was over, I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to really dive back into this because it was working. And knowing that how fast you can go back to feeling terrible, I thought, man, I really can't make any mistakes doing this. So I decided, I'll go back to it. Well, it took me a couple weeks to get fully back into the carnivore thing because, I was weaning myself off of these junk food, fast food excursions that I was going on. And I decided, okay, I'm back in it. I'm eating ribeye for dinner. I'm eating, I do a lot of intermittent fasting as well. So like a typical day for me, like I wake up in the morning, 4:30 or 5. I don't use an alarm clock anymore. I I like to get up and read or, watch podcasts or something in the first part of my day. And then I'll do a little bit of exercising and start getting ready for my work day. I go to work probably around 11 in the morning, and then I don't come home until 5 or 6 p.m. I don't eat until I get home at 5 or 6 p.m. And usually that's going to mean, like, a lot of times I crave breakfast just like you would when you wake up in the morning. Normally I just get eggs and bacon and eat that. And then a couple hours later, then I'll eat dinner. So there's really no lunch. It's just breakfast and dinner for me. And a lot of people will consider that an OMAD, like, because it's in such a short period of time. Because it's like 6 o'clock, and then 2 hours later, I'm moving on to having my dinner. And it usually equates to 4 to 6 eggs, 4 or 5 pieces of bacon, and then a 1 pound ribeye or a pound and a half of ground beef and some butter. And like I said, I add cheese all the time, but I still could not give up that alcohol during this whole journey. And then I was thinking to myself, it was middle of June, not even middle of June, it was the beginning of June. I thought to myself, my dad stopped drinking when he was 48, and I'm 48, and I thought, that really helped him a lot in those first few years when he stopped drinking. I could see the transformation of his body, that big gut that he had, started to go down, even just from changing the drinking thing. He's not a big vegetable guy anyway, so you could probably consider him partially carnivore except for his toast. He could never get rid of the toast. But yeah, I just thought, if I'm going to do this, I really have to get rid of all of the grains. And since vodka is a grain alcohol, that's part of the problem. I thought, well, I'll try it for a week, and if a week's good, I'll go the next week. And I pretty much went since the beginning of June until now, with one slip up. My wife and I went to a wedding, and I decided, we're at the wedding, we're having a good time, people are toasting, I'll have a couple of drinks while we're there. I tell you, the day after the wedding, I thought, maybe I won't do that again, because when I was drinking on a daily basis, you never get a hangover. But when you only drink once in like a 4-week period, you feel it. Your body definitely says, hey, this is poison, get it away from me, get this out of me. And so that was pretty much the last time I had drinks. And I tell you what, my bowels have cleared up immensely. Now they're not perfect yet, but I'm getting some regularity in that area for sure. And my joints and all my lower back and all those things that have bothered me over the years are going right back to, feeling easy going, smooth. I feel like I could run and jump. And, I played soccer for 38 years of my life. And due to a bad diet and not doing things properly, I felt like I had to quit. And so I quit 10 years ago, playing. And I feel like I could get out there again, with a little bit of exercise in the right areas, and start playing again. And I haven't felt like that in a long time. So that's kind of my journey. That's where I am right now. Just trying to live a prosperous life through nutrition.
So that's pretty good. Like, in what's that, about since the beginning of June, 6 or 7 weeks. and you have been able to basically turn the joint pain and everything around in that short time, right?
Yes, but I think I think that the work that I did from, August until February, I think some of that work is still there. I just think that, taking that 40 days of Lent and really blowing it, made it really hard for me. But at the same time, when I went to get back on the stick, it went really fast.
Hmm.
And my weight actually came back down. I'm not completely back down to 170 yet, but I'm down to 180.
Oh,
So I'm
nice.
only I'm only I'm only 10 pounds away from my original weight that I had gotten down to.
Oh, nice. So you mentioned at the start that you were kind of doing the plan was you were going to do this with your wife after the honeymoon. Is that right? And
Well,
so is she doing it or with you or?
so we kind of are on our own timeline as far as like that goes. I give her the information. We cook dinner together. A lot of times she eats the meat that I cook, and then she still, will have a side dish of broccoli or something like that. She still hasn't graduated to the idea of totally getting rid of all the vegetables out of her diet or anything like that. Um, so I don't force her to do anything. She does her own thing. I'd love for her to be right on board with the whole idea and just go straight into it and just feel amazing. But I think everyone has to do things on their own time and terms. And until you find the value in it, you're just going to keep passing up on it.
Everyone's got to find the right time, right? Because it doesn't matter what you say to anyone, you can try and talk them into it, talk about the benefits and all of that kind of thing. But if someone's not ready, then they're not ready, right?
Right. And
Mm.
and trying to force them to do it it will force them away from the idea totally. So I
Mm.
think moreover, just me being diligent and being, working through my schedule daily and doing the things that I think that are necessary for me to continue this lifestyle. And I do consider it a lifestyle. I don't like using the word diet. I think diets are, to be broken. But lifestyles are made to be lived, and when you're living a certain lifestyle and you keep certain standards for yourself, you really do grow as a person. You get healthier, hopefully, and things really do start to change for you.
And so speaking of the getting healthier, have you in the time where you've been doing carnivore, whether it's the first time you did it or this time, have you spoken to your doctor at all about it?
That's a my doctor. Is there one? No, I don't really have one. The last time I went to a doctor to get blood work done, probably around 2017, and I didn't have any high marker. Everything was pretty much in a normal range. I mean, if there was anything on the cusp of being high or anything that the doctor didn't, allude to me that I, you know, was in any major trouble at that time. I was very active at that time, but I told him, I said, hey, I've always thought that when I feel uncomfortable with my body or with the way I feel, I just change what I'm eating, and then, I always feel better. And I didn't know about the carnivore back then. I just knew that if I ate whole foods and stopped, eating out, that I always feel better. And if I got rid of junk food or sugar, that I would always feel better. And that's always been the case, but it really took it to a new level, being fat adapted. Once you start, using fat for fuel, I mean, it just changes everything. Your mind fog goes away. I I mean, just you think clearer. Um, I can't explain it. It's what the natural high is that everyone's looking for.
We're both 48. I remember growing up in the 80s, and the kind of commercials that were on TV, and the low fat and the crazy looking aerobic outfits and all this kind of thing that were going on. And everything low fat this, low fat this, low fat this, drink your it was Tab that they were selling at the time. um Drink all your artificially sweetened beverages and all this kind of thing. How do you feel about that, looking back at that kind of thing now? Does that feel kind of somewhat, I don't know, for me it feels a bit deceptive, because they must have known.
I mean, honestly, I feel that probably someone or a group of people knew more than they let on to believe. But their financial gain was going to be more than they could ever ask for. So, when it comes to finances, sometimes people are willing to, do anything to make a buck, and they don't really care about someone's health. Oh well, it's not going to affect my grandmother's health. It's just going to affect people I don't know. Um, but I really feel like, of course, we've been duped over the whole thing, you know. And we're still being duped, in some cases. And there's people that will never change their mind based on a study that happened in 1980. They heard it, they saw it was somebody credible in their mind, and it doesn't matter if you have 10 studies now from 2022 to 23 that say that's completely wrong. They're just going to go back and cite the 1980 study that's way out of date, has nothing to do, there's no validity to it whatsoever. They've already found out the science about this, that, and the other, and completely debunked it, but in their mind it's etched in there forever, and they're just never going to change it. When I told people in my family, hey, I'm doing the carnivore diet, oh my god, you're going to die. You're like, what about your cholesterol? Oh my goodness, what is good? I mean, how long have you been doing this? You oh, I just got to see your levels. I got to see, you need to go get checked. And I say, well, the only thing that I need to do is know that I feel great and that it's working for me. I don't need validation from, my family or anybody else to know how good I feel on the inside, which I have not felt for so many years.
All you need to know is how good you feel. I mean, a test, a number on a piece of paper doesn't really make any difference when you feel better than you ever have in your life,
Think about it. You go and you do your own, let's say you take your own blood pressure at home. You could take it and 15 minutes later take it again, totally different numbers. It's the same thing with your cholesterol. You could go in and get your cholesterol drawn in the morning, and then go in and get your cholesterol drawn at night, and then totally different numbers, and they'd have to give you totally different diagnoses based on those numbers, because they're really there to peddle the pills.
Mm.
And so they like to use those fluctuating numbers, the ones that fluctuate the most, to scare you to death, to say, hey, you need this, that's going to only improve your life by 0.00003%. I don't know. I don't know what most people's blood pressure is. I know it's 120/80 is the average person, or that's supposed to be the healthy. But when I've been consistently doing this carnivore, I've been staying 100/70. I mean, that's consistent for me, to stay in that range. And then I would think to myself, oh my goodness, is that too low? And then it turns out, 90/60 is still normal.
you spoke about your family have been a little bit jittery about it, like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, or what are your numbers like, or whatever. Um, how about you're not eating when you're at work? How about people at work, or other friends? How are they reacted to it?
There, I mean, I work in a restaurant, so there's food around me all day long. There's there's mistakes that people make that are available for me to eat all day long. I could do it if I want to, and I just don't. Um, Most of the people that I work with, um, they know that I'm on a carnivore diet, and they've seen the difference between me wearing a size 36 waist pant and a size 32 waist pant.
Mm.
And that's kind of where I'm at. I don't really share too much of my journey with the people that I work with. All I will say, they'll say, hey, we've got this flatbread. You want some of it? Oh, you're just eating meat. That's right. I'm sorry. I'm like, yeah, but you can still offer to me. It's very nice of you. And I don't know. I don't really share with the people I work, but they can see the difference in the way I look and the way that I perform.
How do you see this kind of panning out? Like, so now you have stopped the alcohol now, except for that wedding, the wedding time. Um, so do you see this as something that you'll just stick to now forever, or is this more of a temporary thing, do you think?
For me, I feel like it is a lifestyle change for the better,
Mm,
and I will do the best that I can to keep this my lifestyle. Um, I have no reason to believe that I would want to put myself through the pain of going backwards. I think moving forward is always the best route. And I
mm,
think that if stopping alcohol, I've had plenty of time to enjoy alcohol, and I want to make plenty of time to enjoy life without it.
mm,
Um, so for me, I've taken the stance that, um, based on experience, alcohol is a poison, and it poisons my body, it poisons my mind, it poisons my ability to move forward. So yes, I would like to continue this lifestyle for the duration of my life.
mm,
Um, I would like to continue um, being as much of a carnivore as I can for as long as I can. Um, I know that there are days you have a craving for something that you've had in the past. You see it, you smell it, it's there. Um, and you know what? It's sometimes okay to have a dessert. It's sometimes okay to treat yourself to something that's not great for you. But that's the thing about a treat. You're only supposed to have it every so often. You know, you're
It
not
can't
supposed to
suddenly
have it with
become every
every
day.
meal.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be in every meal every day. And I think that the way that we have, the picture of food in reality is that you got to have a salad, you got to have a three-course meal, you got to have a meat, a starch, a vegetable, you got to have some bread on the side, and then you got to have your piece of cake at the end. That's really not the best scenario. I mean, if you want to have something like that, perfect. Just don't have it every meal.
Mm,
Maybe have it once a month, maybe have it once every 3 months. you know Maybe only have it when you hit a goal that you think that is important, or maybe only have it because you're spending the day with your niece or nephew and you want to share an ice cream. And
mm,
I get that, but like, to make it a staple of your meal, I think that that's a mistake.
mm. Just to summarize the things that have improved for you health wise. So you're only 10 pounds off your goal weight, right? So you're 180 at the moment, and the goal is 170.
Well, I don't have a weight goal. I just
Uh-huh.
know that 170 is what I went down to when I was, without even trying. And
Okay.
I'm at 180 right now, I mean, I'm really not trying. I'm just I'm just living my life and having, a couple of meals a day in a short period of time, and I don't feel hungry.
Mm.
And a lot of times, I'll get home and I'm like, I'm not really hungry. Do I really need to eat? And sometimes I'll put it off a little bit and think, maybe I will eat. And then, there's, I mean, I sometimes will be like, well, I'm not hungry. I'll just wait till tomorrow to eat. And I'll do like a 24-hour fast. Or then on the next day, I'll wake up, I feel so good and I'm not hungry still. This is weird. I'll do a 36-hour fast. I'll extend it to 36 hours, And I've done that a few times, because when your body is full and it doesn't need anything, it just says, hey, I'm not really hungry. And if you're
Mm.
not, having any addiction problems with your mind, then you truly don't, you just feel satiated at all times. But I really don't have a goal weight as far as body weight. I just
Mm.
don't want to wither away. I just recently, when I decided to go off the alcohol, I decided to also start working out, because I hadn't worked out in several years. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to start doing this little workout thing. I'm going to start real easy. I started by doing 10 push-ups before I get into the shower, and then 10 push-ups when I get out of the shower. And that in the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks, that's grown to, I'll do anywhere from 30 to 50 before I get in, and anywhere from 30 to 50 when I get out. And so I don't really do a whole lot of exercising, but just some maintaining of, some core activities, just push-ups. And, I go out into my garage and I'll lift some weights for, 5 or 10 minutes, and just really to keep myself feeling like I'm pushing my body a little bit more now, to
Mm.
just be a little bit more physically fit.
And do you feel like you actually want to move like that? Is that like in relative to before when you were on a regular diet? Do you feel like you've got more, not so much because obviously you got more energy, but more of a will to actually do the exercise or to move?
Well, I think previously I felt that I was unhealthy, and that I felt that if I was doing rigorous exercise, I might have a heart attack, or, a stroke or something that could, really set me back. And I thought, until I get nutritionally in shape, that I didn't want to start exercising. And so when I stopped the alcohol, I thought, you know what, this is me being nutritionally in shape. This is, because I'm eating the fatty meats daily. I'm only taking in, a animal-based diet, 99% animal-based diet, and then, adding exercise in because my body felt good. Before, my body didn't feel good, and I had a lot of aches and pains in my shoulders and my back and my knees and in my hands. And I didn't know where that was coming from. Obviously, inflammation, bad diet. So that, I mean, once all that started changing, it allows you to feel like, hey, I can do this now. I can start exercising. I can start doing, some more mobility training. Um, Now that I've worked on my nutrition, I can work on my mobility. And I think, every day I reach a new milestone in both regards.
Has anything changed for you as far as not directly related to health? Have you noticed any improvements? Like an example that I often talk about is like I have much more time now. Like, is there anything for you that's improved outside of the health related stuff?
I feel like I approach things more head on
Mm.
um, than before. Because I feel like in the first few weeks when I stopped drinking, that it I thought to myself, how did I ever get any of this done? I have so much to do, and before my mindset was like I've got nothing to do, I'm bored. But as soon as a couple, a week or two into not drinking, you know, everything you see, there's something to do. It's like, whether or not you want to take care of it is a different story. What's your priority list? What's top of the list and what's bottom of the list? What's in the middle? What can you do right now? And I think that when you have a clear mind and you do get more time, but it's really the same amount of time, but it's more time to focus because you're not focused when you have a foggy brain or alcohol going through your system or trying to recover from drinking alcohol or trying to recover from eating the wrong foods. I mean, it's almost like everything stacks on top of each other neatly. The neater you are, the better the stack, the more you're going to think about and do things. So you're just going to hit life more head on when you have, when you're got a clear mind, a good diet, and then just exercising. I feel like doing those things, I'm not going to be able to conquer the world, but I'd like to be able to conquer myself, if that makes sense. If I can do one thing, it would be to make sure that I feel good every day.
That's a really good quote. I'm not going to be able to conquer the world, but I want to conquer myself. I've got to write that down. That's something I need to remember. That's a good wall poster, that one. Have you started a YouTube channel now? Are you sharing your journey at all on your channel?
I've always wanted to, but I've I'm not real technical savvy when it comes to this kind of thing. So I haven't really dove into the whole technical side of it, and trying to do that.
Mm.
I definitely, I know how to get on and watch other people. Um, the whole recording myself is something that it's like an afterthought. I do something special for myself and then, oh, I should have recorded it,
Mm.
but I never do. It's just something that's not, it hasn't been ingrained in me to make that leap. It's something that I thought would be beneficial to other people to share, my journey is, as your journey was beneficial to me.
Yeah. So, if anyone wants to get in contact with you, is there any way they can, like through an Instagram or to a YouTube page or a Twitter or something?
I do have a YouTube page. I just haven't shared anything on it.
Uh-huh.
It's called uh, Carnivorous Dude.
I'll link to that below.
There's an old saying that they say success begets success.
Mm.
You know, so if you're successful, it doesn't matter what the people that only put a toe in say.
Mm.
It matters the people that jump all the way in. It matters the people that actually give it a go and try it. Um, not haphazardly, but like really try.
Mm.
Maybe start with one of those 30-day challenges from they'll say, hey, let's do 30 days of you know just ruminant meat and salt and water.
Mm.
If that's too extreme for you, hey, let's just do 30 days of eggs, bacon, butter, and beef and salt and water.
Mm.
Okay, if that's too extreme for you, then let's start with ketovore, let's start with meat and vegetables, just getting, just having a starting point, and your starting point can be different than my starting point. Same with anyone else. It's this, just the level of your ability to, frame it so that your mind can understand it, and that your body can understand it, and that you're doing something for you that's going to be beneficial.
Mm.
And no matter what that frame is for each individual person, just continuing on and trying to reach those short-term goals. Because I think once you reach short-term goals, you look back and you go, wow, that was, now I'm at my 6th short-term goal, and I feel better than ever. I don't want, if you just take it in small increments, your life will just start changing before you. And if you make a mistake, it's not, the main thing is, don't call it a mistake. Just give yourself some, leeway. Hey, I was feeling, that I wanted to do that, and I did it. I'm not sad about it. And then you just continue on with your lifestyle.
Yeah, it's just a blip on the radar, and then we've got over
Yeah.
that. So yeah.
Yeah.
I think actually not looking at it like it's a blip on the radar, looking at it like, oh, I messed up, that's it, it's all over.
That can
That's what
derail you.
derails everyone, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Giving yourself a hard time is the wrong way to think. I mean, once you have mental clarity, it allows you to treat yourself better. When you start thinking better about yourself and how you're living your life, and you tell yourself, I'm doing a great job, it's gonna help your life be more abundant in many more areas. If you are always down on yourself and trying to, put yourself down for the mistakes that you make, then you're going to continue to make those mistakes over and over again. They're going to define you. But if you treat yourself with respect, and tell yourself happy things, and do things to make you feel better, do things to make other people feel better, just smiling at somebody and saying hello, as you're walking by, that's a good enough start for some people.
Very good way of looking at it. So Edmund, thank you very much for sharing your story with us. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk about your journey so far, and I really hope that we can talk again, maybe in another few months, and see how you're going.
Yeah, that would be great. I really enjoy waking up and watching some of your content daily. I enjoy a lot of different people's content daily, but specifically yours. And I'd love to come back and talk to you again. Maybe we could get a couple more other people on here and talk.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much, Edmund.
All right, you have a great night.
Guys, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to click like and subscribe, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video.